You cannot expect others to think about you in a certain type of way if you don't think of yourself in that way. You can't view yourself as ugly, down in doldrums, sad, depressing, whatever, rude, and then expect people to think the complete opposite of you. That don't make no sense. Don't expect other people to think highly of you if you think so low in yourself. Hi guys, I haven't been active for 3 weeks. Yeah, I know I was supposed to post, but I was lazy and I didn't feel like it. I didn't have time to record. Today, this video will be inspired by The Wizard Liz. It does have to do with self-esteem. Let's get into this. I know this is not my usual type of video, but I just wanted to make this. Okay, starting off at number 1, to have high self-esteem. When I mean high self-esteem, I mean like loving yourself. Like, you have to have a loving attitude towards yourself. You have to be confident, which that will be another subject for later, but you have to be confident in yourself. You cannot expect others to think about you in a certain type of way if you don't think of yourself in that way. You can't view yourself as ugly, down in doldrums, sad, depressing, whatever, rude, and then expect people to think the complete opposite of you. That don't make no sense. Don't expect other people to think highly of you if you think so low in yourself. You are your own person to lean on. Do not be dependent on other people to hype you up and say other stuff about you, say that you're so beautiful and stuff like that, and you don't even think about that for yourself. What are you supposed to do if that person is not gonna be there for you? Certain people, well, I don't know about you, but I know for me, I don't know if that's just me, but certain people don't like to surround themselves with a person who is like in that type of mindset when they are not in that mindset. Like, if a person is like high in their self-esteem, their confidence, stuff like that, they wouldn't want to surround themselves with people who have low self-esteem. So if you are constantly saying certain stuff like, oh, I'm so ugly and stuff like that, okay, we gon' just be real, okay? If you are constantly self-deprecating yourself, talking about you're ugly and stuff like that, like, slowly over time it just becomes true. No way are you gonna keep saying you're ugly, you're ugly, you're ugly, and then you expect someone else to be like, oh no, that's not true, you're pretty, you're pretty, you're pretty. How many times do you want someone to tell you that you're pretty, you're pretty, you're pretty, and you don't even believe it yourself? How many times? You have to think you're pretty before you have other people telling you that you're pretty. Like, what? Don't have other people, don't be dependent on other people to be like, oh, you're pretty, you're pretty, you're pretty, because after all that time you're always self-deprecating yourself, always talking about you're ugly, you're ugly, you're ugly, or whatever, and you have someone else telling you, oh no, you're pretty. You don't even believe it. So what do I look like telling you, oh, you're pretty? No, you're not. If you think you're ugly, then so be it, okay? So I know that sounds really harsh and I know that sounds so mean, but at the same time, I can't convince you to think something of yourself and you don't even think that, you don't believe it. So what's the point of me going and telling you that and you're like, oh no, it's not true, it's not true. Okay then, what do you think of yourself? You think of yourself as that? Okay, then you are. I know that sounds really like, oh yeah, that like you have no remorse. No, I don't. I do not. I think that people should really work on their self-esteem rather than going to someone else and constantly dumping their stuff on them. I understand people have like their moments and stuff like that where they're not feeling the best and stuff like that. Like, yeah, I completely understand that. But it's different when it's all the time. If it's an all the time thing, it seems like attention seeking. I'm not gonna be there. You need to love yourself before you have others trying to convince you to love yourself. No one should have to convince you. That makes absolutely no sense. I honestly think that people should just change how they view themselves and just like say different affirmations, like look in the mirror and tell themselves like, I am beautiful, I am this, I am that, instead of constantly saying all this negative words. It's constantly going to just repeat in your brain. Soon enough you'll believe it even when it is not true. I feel like instead of saying, like, constantly saying, oh, I'm ugly, you should replace that with more positive words or things that you want to see yourself as. Second, I would like to talk about confidence. Confidence, like, you have to hold yourself to a higher standard. You have to believe in yourself and believe in the things that you want to do. Be confident in what you're doing in what you can do. You can't be all like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do this. If you keep saying you cannot do something, you're gonna keep repeating it in your brain, and you will eventually like actually start to believe that you cannot do this. You cannot do that. Like, I did not used to be as confident in myself as I am today, but that's because my mom, which I love her, she's one of the biggest reasons I'm confident now. I'll give you an example, okay? I used to do swimming. Well, I used to do swimming in the summer, and I was in the highest level of the swimming thing, but we were swimming in deep water. If y'all know me, I don't like deep water because I don't like that I cannot touch the ground in the pool. That, like, nah. Not around here, partner.
Not around here.
But I thought that I like could not swim in deep water. Mind you, I can swim, okay? I was a good swimmer. I can still, like, you know, like I got a little, you know, but I really thought I could not do it. We'd always have this thing at the end of the summer camp or whatever, and we would jump off the diving board in the deep part. The pool is 13 feet. At this point, I was like around 4'11", 4 something. I wasn't that tall then. Oh, that terrified me. I couldn't touch the ground. And how dark and ominous the water looked. My mom played me this song by, I think it's Jennifer Hudson. Correct me if I'm wrong, okay? I think the song is called I Got This, where she's basically telling me that everyone believes that I could do it but myself, and that I need to believe in myself before I have other people believing in me. I can't just be like, and I can't do it, and I can. I just don't think I have the ability to do it, but I really do have the ability. I just don't believe in myself. So I feel like it's the same thing in this instance. I feel like anyone could be able to do anything that they really want to do if they believe they can do it, and if they really try and persevere and be determined to do it. Certain people, I feel like, again, same thing with the self-esteem thing, with the wallowing. If they're complaining that they can't do it, it's because they don't want to. I feel like everyone has the ability to do stuff if they really wanted to do it, okay? I feel like if you're not doing it, it's a choice. You don't want to. You don't want to, okay? It's not, I can't do this. No, you can. You just don't want to. That's it. I don't care what it says. I know people will be like, well, some people don't have the ability. Carrying into confidence, I definitely think attitude 100% has to do with it as well. You cannot have a defeatist attitude, rude attitude, stank attitude, whatever type of attitude that's just stanky and nasty, and then expect people to think like, oh, she's so beautiful. I don't care if you look like someone who's gorgeous. If your insides is nasty like a sewage gutter, disgusting all over, okay? I'm just gonna say the example without saying the name. So recently there's been stuff going on with this girl, and she's always going around and taking people's mans, like her friends' boyfriends and stuff like that. She's going around doing a whole bunch of stuff like that. And mind you, like, I'm not denying it, she's a very beautiful girl, but her attitude is so stank. I feel like it just completely washes away from the fact that she's beautiful, and that just, like, I don't know, when people have attitudes that are stank, I feel like that completely washes away from the fact that you look pretty. That speaks for itself. You can't look pretty and then have a stank attitude. To me, I feel like when you have a stank attitude and you're pretty, you're just ugly all in all. I feel like, in my honest opinion, you know, like being kind to people, waving hi to people, you know, smiling at people at the store, you know, that you make eye contact with, being helpful, like just having human decency, not being rude and a menace to society. I think it just mainly matters how you carry yourself as a person. Yeah. Okay, so this one, I feel like this also has to do with like self-esteem as well. And I understand it's like completely normal to be insecure. Like, there's nothing wrong with being insecure. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I feel like it's an issue though when it carries into your entire personality, like your whole persona. Yeah, that's when I think it's an issue, because I think that certain people like they have insecurity, like, okay, well, if I'm like, let's say I'm insecure about my weight, but I can change my weight if I really wanted to. I could go change it. And then there's people who are like, oh, I'm insecure about my weight, but I'm not gonna go change it. I'm just gonna sit here and wallow and let it swallow me whole. I feel like certain people take it to a certain extreme. Again, like I said, if you want to change something, you could really change it if you wanted to. You could really change it if you wanted to. Some of these people just don't want to be changing it because they get the attention and validation from not changing it. They get an audience from always wallowing and talking about certain thing that's going on in their life, or certain things that makes them insecure and stuff like that, instead of going and changing it if they really wanted to, because they get a benefit from not doing that, which is attention from wallowing, which to me I feel like is even like more sad, because I feel like, is your self-esteem that low that you are going to the extent of wallowing about something that you could change for attention? I noticed that people do that with relationships too. They settle for certain things in relationships because of their self-esteem. They feel like they don't deserve certain things in relationships. So when someone gives it to them, even if the relationship is horrible or it's toxic, they just stay because they feel like they won't get the same thing from someone else because they don't deserve it or whatever, or they're not deserving, because they view themselves as the lowest thing in the earth. And they really don't be. Like, I know I've said this and I'm going to keep saying it. People view you as you view yourself, okay? If you view yourself as something so low, everyone else will view you as the same thing. You cannot convince them to view you as beautiful, smart, and you think you're ugly and dumb. Like, self-love. You have to love yourself first before you're over here expecting other people to hype you up and tell you that you're beautiful. You cannot be always dependent on someone else to make you happy. You make yourself happy. You can't depend on someone else to make you happy. And all in all, that don't even make you happy for real. Okay, I think I've done all my yapping for today about self-esteem. Let me know if you guys want a part 2. I know this is not my usual type of videos. I'm over here talking about self-esteem. I just really want to talk about it because I be seeing so much stuff on the internet where this video is not like only for girls, but I feel like it's specifically catered to girls because of the stuff I'm talking about. But I be seeing crazy stuff on the internet of all these girls doing all these crazy stuff because self-esteem is so low, their self-worth is so low. Feel like they need to do all this stuff for validation and attention from other people. And I'm like, it be the people who are like the prettiest people ever, having the low self-esteem, thinking they ugly, da-da-da-da-da. And then of course they're going and posting it on the internet to get validation from random people on the internet, because they probably don't get that type of attention regularly in life or whatever. But even if you don't, like, why does it matter? I feel like you really have to love yourself. If there are people around you who have deprecating attitudes and stuff like that, sometimes that really can transfer over to you. Most of the people that I used to be friends with and cut off, it was for that reason. I don't like being around people who have that type of energy around me, because I like to be in my state. You have to surround yourself with the energy and the people that you want to be surrounded with. But yeah, that's why I wanted to make this video, especially about the relationships and stuff. The relationship one to me is like the worst ever. Like, I feel like people who have low self-esteem in relationships is so bad because they end up doing like crazy stuff that they wouldn't usually do, but since they want male attention so bad and validation so bad, they go doing stuff to the ends of the earth that they would never do ever. Like, why I saw this video of this girl talking about, if my man tapped me in the middle of the night or like 4 a.m. and asked me to make some steak, mashed potatoes, and asparagus, I will wake up and do it with a smile on my face because he get that on the regular. Are you dumb? I'm sorry, are you? How would you wake up in the middle of the night, make your man some asparagus, steak, and mashed potatoes at 3 a.m.? 3 a.m.? Stop playing on my phone. Like, there's no way you're actually serious. Please tell me that you're rage baiting, because it doesn't make sense. To me, it doesn't. To me, honestly, the way that I'm viewing it, it just seems like he did that to just disturb you, anything that you would do it. I feel like people who have high self-esteem wouldn't just tolerate any type of stuff. I don't know if I shared this example, but if I didn't, here's an example of this, okay? I used to have a friend. I met her at summer camp, and she had a boyfriend, and the relationship was very toxic, okay? It was extremely toxic. They would always break up over like stupid arguments, and the main thing, it would just be because the boyfriend was manipulative, okay? I also want to point out that this friend also had low self-esteem. She was very like insecure about certain stuff, which to me, I was just like, oh no, like, girl, you're really pretty, like, I don't think you should be insecure about that. But again, don't know why. I'm not going to make my assumptions. She would always get into arguments with her boyfriend, and he would basically be mad when she wouldn't want to do certain things that he wanted her to do. All the time stuff will go on, he's just like, oh well, if you don't like that, like, we could just break up, because she didn't want to do certain things that he wanted to do. And then when she realized that he was actually being serious, she'd go back and go apologize to him, be like, oh no, I'm so sorry, like, I'll go do this, I'll go do this. That honestly just really, like, that's really sad to me. Extremely sad. It's extremely sad to me because I just feel like she's very beautiful, and yet she sits here and does these crazy things for this guy who literally looks like the troll under the bridge. He's not a good boyfriend, but she thinks that because the history that they've had with each other, they've been together for a long time, and that he did certain things for her in the past, that he's deserving of her attention. And I think that that is so sad. Wake up, sit up, do whatever, stand up, do whatever you need to do. But I feel like that man is not deserving of her. Make sure your self-esteem is high. Boost yourself up. Don't wait for no one else to boost you up. Self-love, confidence, growth mindset. Do whatever you need to do, but don't go waiting on someone else to go hype you up and stuff like that. Stop being dependent on other people. Anyways, guys, my camera is about to die, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what your favorite piece of advice was, even if it was harsh. If you know me, you know me. I'm usually this harsh when people ask me for I'm usually this harsh when people ask me for advice, because sometimes I feel like the truth hurts, but sometimes people really need to hear it, because self-esteem, like, I feel like that's something that people need to hear. That can't be sugar-coated. That is something that people really need to hear. Sometimes people need to reiterate it just so you can hear it again. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. I didn't say it would be next Sunday because I'm thinking of doing it every other Sunday instead. I don't know. I'll see what works for me. And also drop recommendations for videos. If I do confessions again though, oh, if you haven't seen the last confession video from a while ago, go ahead and watch that video. Those confessions were wild, and if I'm reading confessions again, I'm not reading the wild ones. So you better drop some regular confessions, because I really, like, nah. Bye bye.